I have lost over 15 kilos, and to do it, I had to stop doing some things and start doing some others. This is part two of the 10 things that I stopped doing video. Part one is what I removed, and this video is going to be what I started doing. And that 15 plus kilos didn't come off in one perfect cut. It actually happened over 2 years with around 4 to 5 cuts with long periods of muscle building and maintenance in between. So, because I built muscle along the way, the scale might not tell the whole story. I could have lost over 20 kilos of fat while gaining 5 kilos of muscle, and that would level out to 15 kilos. Also, all of these habits are based on the 5 metabolic levers that I teach inside my metabolic method coaching. These are the things I keep coming back to because they made fat loss, maintenance, and building a physique that I'm really comfortable in just so much more easier. So, here are the 10 things that I started doing. Number one was I started to eat more protein. I made protein the center of every meal just to hold onto that muscle while cutting. And in a cut, you're going to be protecting your muscle. That's a very important thing to be doing, not just dropping a number on the scale, because you could drop the number on the scale without doing any maintenance at the gym or any protein, extra protein. And yeah, that number will fall, but you're going to be losing muscle in the meantime. In a cut, you really want to be protecting that muscle rather than just dropping the number. And protein also helped me stay full for hours. So I wasn't just constantly snacking throughout the day. This helped me really control my insulin levels as I was going through the day because a big part of my approach to dieting is controlling insulin. Number two was I started to control carbs and the types of carbs. I'm not talking about cutting carbs, I'm talking about lowering them and changing which ones that you eat. This is going to be the single biggest needle mover, if you want to say it that way, for your body to manage that insulin. I wore a glucose monitor for a while because I wanted to see how my body reacted to the different types of carbs that I was eating. That way, I wasn't just taking some advice off of the internet that I wasn't really sure what it was doing to my body. I was able to see exactly how my body reacted to certain types of carbs. And surprise, surprise, when I cut out the ones that left the biggest spikes, my weight dropped off with almost minimal effort from my part. What I also did was I swapped, quick carbs for complex carbs. This was just a natural progression off of the glucose monitoring testing because I tried out different types of carbs and found out that the more complex, more natural carbs versus the ultra processed carbs had a much better reaction to my body or in the order that I ate them in, such as instead of eating chips first and then a steak and vegetables, I would eat the steak and the vegetables first and then the chips, and that would blunt that spike drastically. Insulin, like I keep saying, is the main hormone that we work on in my coaching. So this isn't really about calorie counting. This is about insulin control because that is the key to your body unlocking that fat stores to let you use it. You could eat as little as you want, but without controlling insulin, you're going to just end up really, really hungry. You're going to have lots of different cravings, and it's going to be really, really hard for you to lose weight. Also, insulin is one of the 9 hormones that I talk about in my free masterclass, where I break down all 9 of the hormones that control fat loss. So the link is down in the description if you want that. Number three is I started using healthy fats instead of low fat. So I was brought up in the whole low fat craze. That was just what my mom sort of brought me up on. And so that's what I was doing. But full fat really is going to support the hormones that you need during a cut. That is what also is going to keep you satisfied. And that's going to make consistency a lot more possible. When I replaced, I lowered my carbs a bit, I replaced the types of carbs and I increased fats. I saw the body weight actually finally shift in the way that I hadn't seen it be done in many, many years of yo-yo dieting in my own experience. And then I told my mom about this as well, and I planned out a new diet for her. And surprise, surprise, the weight dropped off of her as well after making just this one switch. We need to keep remembering that fat does not make you fat. Insulin is what drives fat storage, and fat does not have an impact on insulin. The fourth thing that I started doing was intermittent fasting. I find that either the 16-8, or you could call it time restricted eating, the 16-8 or the 18-6 cycle team seems to work better for me. So this is two larger protein based meals with fruit and vegetables sort of in between for some nutrition. This is going to keep insulin low for most of the day because we are putting all of our meals into a shorter eating window. And that's going to leave a good runway into sleeping. So, what we want to do is stop eating sort of earlier in the day. So, sometimes I'll even stop eating when I'm at work in the office. I will have my last meal around 5 o'clock, and then I'm going to be not eating until the following morning. That means that by the time I get home, I've had a shower, I'm ready to hit the bed. It takes me a while to get back home from the city. So that takes up most of my afternoon. Maybe take the dog for a walk. I hop in bed, and then instantly my melatonin is able to rise because melatonin can't rise while insulin is high as well. They're in a little bit of a seesaw. So it helps me get a better sleep. And then I wake up the next morning, I'm not bloated. I feel nice and lean, and my insulin is being controlled. And then I wait until my eating window starts again, or I just start it whenever I start feeling hungry. And then I do it all over again. But I don't do that every day. I switch it up. So some days I'll do 18-6, some days I'll do 16-8, other days I might do OMAD. Rare occasions, maybe once a quarter, I'll do a 36-hour fast just for the autophagy and the other sort of benefits of fasting. But then there's days where I won't fast at all. And I think that's important. Don't do the same thing every day. Keep switching it up. You're also going to be lengthening the time in which your insulin is low. And that means that your body can enter fat burning while you sleep. I don't know about you, but I would rather burn fat while I sleep than while I'm on the treadmill. So I am going to be putting my body in a state where it's in its rest and repair state while I'm sleeping, and it's going to be burning fat. Then another thing that I started doing was drinking bulletproof coffee and kind of experimenting with different things like allulose in my coffee, which is a natural fig sweetener. A lot of people seem to like fat burners, but coffee itself actually supports fat loss and sort of mimics a fat burner. Most fat burners are like caffeine and green tea extract. So it helps to support fat loss just in a comfortable way, and it pushes you into that state where fasting becomes a little bit easier because it is fasting safe. So, what I do, my version of a bulletproof coffee is bulletproof coffee with MCT oil, usually like 1 to 2 teaspoons, and then 1 to 2 teaspoons of butter, and then also 1 to 2 teaspoons of allulose, the fig sweetener that I just mentioned. The allulose is also, it is a natural sugar. It's a type of sugar. It's not technically a sweetener, but what it does is it helps to lower your blood sugar and help you to control your blood sugar throughout the day. So if you start off with that, you've got the healthy fats from the butters supporting your hormones. You've got the caffeine to help you kick into fat burning along with the MCT oil. And then you've got the allulose to help control your blood sugar. So I feel like all of those things together really just help take, in the morning, if maybe I'm a little bit hungry and I'm in a cut, so I'm really wanting to lean out, I can have my bulletproof coffee in the morning, and then I can go an extra 2, 3, maybe 4 hours into my fast without even thinking about food because it kind of helps to shut off your food noise. And that's the same thing with allulose, is that it can help with cravings, which I have noticed as well. And I know it sounds a bit backwards to add fat because this is a lot of fat to lose fat, but that's the point. And also, if you need a bit of extra kick to get into ketosis, this might help you. Number 6, I started walking 10,000 steps a day and splitting it up and doing exercise snacks. So, not just doing that entire 10K in one morning or one afternoon. That's quite hard to do. So, this was probably the second biggest impact after sort of managing my insulin was walking after meals as well. So, this sort of comes into helping that insulin lower naturally and supports your little exercise snacks throughout the day. Going for a 10 to 15-minute walk. So simply what I used to do was go for a walk and then eat lunch. I just switched it. So I'd eat lunch and then go for a walk. And adding in things like short walks throughout the day are just going to help you lower and manage that blood sugar throughout the day. Walking is also very low effort. I have got a lot of joint pain because of my hypermobility. I've got chronic back pain as well. So it's not impacting my joints. It's a nice way to support my body and keep myself moving in a way that also doesn't spike your stress hormones in the way that hard cardio can do. So if you struggle with cortisol, walking is a great alternative. Then number 7 is I started weight training properly with some breaks for building. This is that sort of 2 year with 4 to 5 cuts in it. And what I did was I stopped losing weight on purpose to build muscle. What I wanted to do for those periods was I increased my proteins and my carbs into maintenance or a little bit above, and I pulled my steps back to about 8,000 steps. What I wanted was to build a lot more muscle so that the next time I entered a cut, I have got more sort of room to move with my nutrition. So the more muscle you build, the more you're able to eat, and the better your body is going to be handling carbs as well. And I feel like that's a bit of a no-brainer because why wouldn't you want your body to be better at using carbs? I want those carbs to be going towards rest, repair, rebuilding muscle, and energy rather than going into stored fat because I'm not using them for any other purpose. So for those periods of time, I entered like 3 month build, and then I would go back into a cut. Then number eight is I started following one written plan instead of switching my workouts weekly. I wasn't really following any particular plan. I was following like an app that sort of switched things up every now and then. But my friend started studying to be a personal trainer and she wrote out a program for me. So I'm a bit of a test subject for her. The first one that she did was a cut program. So that was a lot more like high reps, lower weights, and more workouts and adding things like cardio at the end. Then in my build phase, it was all about pushing for personal best, going to failure, increasing the weights, and just trying to build as much muscle as I can. The thing here is that consistency is going to be constant sort of switching up of your workouts. And that's what gave me the progress that I could also track my weights each week and see how I'm increasing. I just had to stop chasing like a new workout every week and stop chasing girls on Instagram recommending different things and just stick to what my friend wrote for me because she knows my goals as well. She knows about my back pain and she was able to switch out exercises that flare up my back for ones that still work the same muscle groups but are a lot easier for me to implement personally. Then number nine is I started moving through my hobbies a lot more. So, number 9 was I started moving through my hobbies a bit more and I stopped using being out at my hobbies as an excuse to just pick up something quick and easy and not so great for me on the way home. So, horse riding and ice skating are the movements that I really enjoy doing. I started treating them more like exercise, like a workout, and really pushing myself there. And the thing was, I got into a bit of a bad habit a while ago with horse riding is that I used to buy a sausage roll and a frozen drink on my way home, and you can guess how quickly I went from being about 65 kilos up to over 80 kilos. That was a bit of a sort of restricting and then overeating loop, and cutting that out really leveled me out. So now I know that being prepared is the key. So there is always a proper meal waiting for me at home. So I don't need to stop off the servo on the way home. Servo is just Australian slang for a fuel station, petrol station. And I feel like that really helped. Also, just knowing that my exercise that I just done in my hobby shouldn't be necessarily undone by the fact that I'm just hungry now and I'm just going to eat a frozen drink that's loaded with sugar on my way home. I want to prioritize nutrition so that I'm better at doing my hobbies rather than my hobbies becoming an excuse to just eat whenever I'm out because I've used the energy. And I think that that comes down to that old saying that was like, you can't outrun a bad diet. I think I was trying to do that a little bit. Then number 10 is I started trusting my plan, even through scale fluctuations. So I really go through periods of time where I will go up on my scales and then I will whoosh back down. And I've heard this be called the whoosh effect. I actually had one of these this morning. I was up a little bit this last week and then immediately I was down half a kilo today. It's odd how that happens. But it's my body just doing normal things. And I'm not going to use a bad scale day as a reason to quit, which is what I used to do. And trusting my own plan. The thing is that everybody that I have put through my metabolic method has lost weight without counting calories. It is built on insulin control and science. So I know the methodology behind it. And yet, mentally, I still have the odd struggle with believing that my body is actually losing weight or doing the thing that I want it to do. And I know that a lot of people say that, doing intermittent fasting and all that is just sort of calorie counting dressed up as something else, but it really isn't. It is controlling insulin that is going to really help you. I could manage my calories for months and months and months, and all I would do is plateau within a couple weeks, and then I would just get really hungry, and then my body would adapt. And, we have the whole adaptive thermogenesis model, and nothing would happen. until I manage my insulin, nothing happens. And they'll also, these influencers will say things like, oh, eat everything in moderation. But moderation works for people who can moderate. And a lot of us can't moderate, which is me included. I have a good example of this. A couple weeks ago, I had a girls' night with a few friends and there was leftover Tim Tams. So I took home the packet of Tim Tams. It was probably almost 80% full. I ate that entire packet within a couple of days. I have zero ability to regulate food at home. And even though I was on a cut, and even though I had strong goals, and even though I know that it's not great to be eating that many Tim Tams every single day, I'm just the type of person who is more likely to eat a couple snacks within a couple days. The thing is that telling somebody who's more likely to eat all of their snacks within a couple days just to moderate themselves is not going to work. Instead, I have figured out that my moderation is where 1 or 2 days a week I'm eating something a little bit indulgent, but it's out of the house. So today I've got a lunch later on because it's my birthday next Wednesday. So I've got some nice food to look forward to. And yeah, I will probably indulge. If there's a cake, I'll eat a little bit of cake. If there's a dessert, I'll eat that. But it's out of the house. That is the sort of rule that I've had to use for myself. In the house, it's natural, it's whole foods, it's insulin control, it's get your protein, it's healthy fats, control carbs and insulin and all that. Outside of the house, indulgence. And that's where I sort of think like control the environment rather than the willpower. And I really think that once you figure that out, it's a lot easier to consistently stick to a plan and then just trust that the plan is working because you're not trying to balance all of these different things throughout the week. You're just following a plan. And then on the odd day, you're having a little bit of an indulgence. But throughout that week, you're going to be, you know, probably tracking your weight if that doesn't impact you too much mentally. And then you're going to be hitting the end of the week and probably even having that little whoosh effect that I was talking about, and then go, oh, great, plan is working. Really, consistency over everything else. So, that is the 10 things that I started doing. I built some systems around how my body actually works and around the fact that I can't moderate certain foods, as we've learned in my own house. Every one of these comes back to insulin as well, but insulin is not the only hormone deciding whether you burn fat or store it. There are 9 hormones. So that's why I made this free masterclass that's in the description that walks you through all of them. Go get that one. And if you liked this video, then you'll love this next one that I did on the 5 foods that I ate on repeat to lose 15 kilos. I will pop it right up here on the screen. And if this helped, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm a new and very small channel, so every interaction really makes a difference so I can keep putting out these videos for free for you guys. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.